class. We are going to start the session because it is 5:30, and we are talking about the class definition, and we are talking about in last session what is object-oriented programming and what are the pillars of object-oriented programming. Okay, so there are four pillars of object-oriented programming system, and those pillars are nothing but the first is data abstraction, then encapsulation, and then inheritance, and the fourth one is polymorphism. So all these uh, concept we learned in last session, and today I'm going to show the practical on it. So we are going to define our own class, and inside that we are going to define the constructor. We are going to define the uh, uh, constructor, overloaded constructor. We are going to define the data member, and we are going to define the method, okay, inside that function. The one method which is responsible for taking an input, and another method is responsible for taking output, and plus some properties we are going to see here. So let us start the editing scene and create a class called as a person class, and we are creating object of what person class inside the main. So either way, you are able to create a class inside the main method, or you are creating the class outside the main method as a file here, and you can include those files or you import those package. Then you can create the object of what that class. If both are inside a same package, then you can create a object of what that class or instance of class that we are going to learn. Mm. So let us understand this. So tutorial number 23, 24. Okay. So you see, so this is source package, my pack, and I'm going to create a tutorial number 21. Okay, and defining a class inside it. So I'm pressing right click and choosing new class and giving a name of that class, tutorial number 21, and click on finish. Okay, so objective of this tutorial is to understand the use and defining of what the class, how to define a class and various members of the class. Okay, what are those? The first is data member, and then constructor, and then overloaded constructor. Okay. Constructing constructor overloading, methods, and the properties. All this stuff we are going to understand inside this tutorial. So I'm creating a class called as a person, and this is a class definition and define outside the uh, class. Okay, main class, and this is main class public static module name and string arguments are there. and here I'm creating objective of what the person does. So let us define a data member with accessibility control. So I'm choosing a private string name. So it's a person name and private int age, the name of it. So all these are data members. So two data member I have created. And initially I'm not using a constructor, but I'm using a method, and then I'm going to implement the constructor. So I'm using a method one, that is input method, which is responsible for taking the input and runtime initialization is taking place. So I'm writing public void input data in the name of the method, and where I'm taking the scanner object, see, and new scanner system dot in. So I'm creating a scanner object for taking the input, importing Java utility scanner package here, and I'm taking the value for the name. So I'm writing system dot out dot print, okay, and not printing, simply print and say enter your name. Okay, and then I'm using name equal to sc dot next. So next is a method which written data type is what is string here. Then after that, I'm going to use system dot out dot print ln, not ln with print and enter your age equal to sc dot next int, because my age is in integer form. So this is a method one who are which are responsible for initializing the data member of name and age of a class person. So I'm doing initialization with the help of input data method. So it's a method one. Another method I'm writing which is responsible for printing the contents. Okay, as I can say it is the output method. Okay, and then I'm writing public void and giving a name as get data show data. So I mean display data here. So actually responsible for displaying the data. So this is my display data method, and that display data method will display the name of that person which I entered. So name and plus sign and the data member variable name. Then system dot out dot printing and age equal to then plus age. So whatever the value assigned by input data, that value initialization is taking place. Variable initialization is taking place, and that value is available here. Okay, and these are the two methods. So now I'm choosing creating a person object here. So there is a class called as a person. So I'm creating object of person. So person p equal to new person. So if you see, this is a reference variable. Class variable is always reference variable, and whenever you are using a reference variable, you are using a keyword called as a new, and this is known as a new operator. So new operator is calling a constructor, and that initialization is taking place here. But I am not create any kind of for the constructor. Okay, so if I'm choosing p dot display data instead of input data, so what kind of output it will display? So if you choose and run this program, so it's going to initialize some default value, and that initialization automatically taking place through default constructor. So the if you look at that, name is null and age is equal to 0, because it is a string kind of what the variable. and you are not calling the input data, and that's why initialization is not taking place. Okay, so therefore we are using input data here before calling display data here. Okay, so now let us run this program again. So I am running this program again here, tutorial number 21. And now it's asking me for enter a name. So I'm writing a name of person is ABC and age is 23. So it's going to show the name and age because the display data is automatically called, not automatically, we are calling in explicitly with the help of dot operator object. P is an object of that kind, and you are able to see the input, and whatever the initialization is taking place, you are using assigning that value to the respective variable. Okay, and that value you are pick upping from this. So what is this P? P is an object. So whenever I use this create the object, at that time the constructor is automatically called. So what is the constructor? The constructor is not mentioned here. Okay, and so if it is not mentioned, then it is calling a parent constructor. So who is a parent constructor of this class person? So every class in every programming language inherited inherited from a base class called as the object. Okay. So if you're taking C sharp, if you are taking Java, so one of the super base class is what? The object. Okay, so there is a class which name is object, and all classes are inherited from uh, the object classes. So we are not showing the person class is also inherited from object classes here. So if you are not providing the constructor at that time, the it is calling a object constructor here, and whatever the values are there, that value is assigned. Default value is assigned to the variable here. If I'm not calling input data, so let us talk about the constructor here, and I'm creating a constructor which is same name as a class name. Okay, my class name is person, and my constructor name is also person, which is also a method. So this is called as a constructor, and it is especially called as a non-parameterized constructor. What is this non-parameterized constructor? Where you are not passing any kind of what the parameter. Okay, so the name suggests that constructor means when the object is constructing, at that time the constructor is getting called, and you can assign any value. So I'm assigning the any value. So I'm assigning a name equal to some Sukhiram. Okay, so this is the name of person, suppose, and his age is suppose 34. So whenever I'm not calling any input data, okay, at that time my constructor is initializing the data, whatever the data here I'm assigning that every object is going to initialize with this constructor, and is assigned the name Sukiram and age is 23. So if you want to see, look at this particular file. So you don't need to call here. So here name is Sukiram and age is 23, because now you have got your own constructor. You are not taking constructor of object. So if you are not using any runtime initialization with the help of method, you can create a constructor, and that constructor is automatically called here and it is initialized. The proper practice is, yeah, if there are n number of objects, so how he came to know which object constructor they are going to call. Okay, so if I'm using this is p1, and if I'm using new person, uh, okay, so p1 p2 are now my two a different object and I want to display, and my constructor is actually calling two times. One is for P1 and another is for P2. And if I'm running this program, so in both the cases, the objects are initialized here, and they having same initial value, that is Sukhiram and 34 age here. Okay. So how you came to know, how the compiler came to know which object is getting called. So when the object is created, so that anomalous object is created here. So there is no name. So P1 is a reference. So I can say P1 is a reference variable of that anomalous object. Means it this object has some address here, and that address is assigned to P1. Similarly, this is another object uh, of person kind which has address here. So P1, P2 are a reference variable. Remember that P1, P2 are the reference variable. Uh, so we can't give an object um, a name. So there is no name such as. So these are the two object of a class, and each class has, I can say, instance of what the object, and each class each object has two data member, that is name and age here. Okay, and the name of they don't have a name, but they have address here. And suppose this particular object has address 1001 here. Okay, and this particular object has address 2001 here. So when you are saying you are creating a P1, so P1 is a actually the reference variable which holding the address of this object. Okay, anonymous object. So P1 is a person kind of object which is actually referring the address of that object, anonymous object. At the runtime, when the object is get created, at that time this address is actually stored inside the P1 here. Okay, so P1 is referring that address. Okay, so I can say P1 is a reference of object which address is 1000. Similarly, P2 is a reference of address. Okay, uh, so I'm just using here P2, and P2 is a reference of object called and the 2001 here. So they have both different addresses, and if you see here, so how compiler came to know that this particular value he wants to assign. So there is something called as a this pointer or this reference. Okay. So this reference is always holding the object address who are active in a memory. So if P1 is calling a constructor at that time, this object is holding the value of what? The address of P1 object. Okay. And he start referring to show here to this object. So I can write now my this pointer is 1000 here. Okay, and whatever may be the value that Sukhiram and all other stuff. Okay, are given here. So Sukhiram is a name and age is 34 here. So if you see age here 34, I'm going to show you these pointers. Okay, so these pointer are nothing but the reference or this reference. In Java, we are calling this reference. When P2 is get created at that time, this 1001 is get replaced with 2001, and then my this pointer is starting referring to the next addresses. So instead of previously it was referring to 1001 location, then we start referring to 2001 location here like this. So I'm just showing previously it was 1000 one, and now it is 1000. So every time these references keep on changing the addresses, and you start referring any one of the object which is active in a memory. So instead of writing the name, you can write this dot name, okay, and this dot age. So whatever maybe it is the right practice, and most of the time the people are using this dot. So let us see the debug process, and I'm choosing my debugging and running my configuration file here. So I'm setting my configuration file to tutorial number 21 for debugging instead of tutorial 20. Now, I'm starting step into here. The compilation is always starting from the base here. Okay. And check the tutorial spelling is correct. Yeah. Yeah. Tutorial 21. Correct. So I'm starting a debugging here. And what is the main where it is debug, and starting F7 here. So could not find a load main class my main is there. Mm, Spelling is wrong. Public static void main. Yeah, it's correct. String arguments. Yeah, it's correct. And it's running the constructor. Okay, so it should. Let me check. I'm starting a debugging again. Um, okay. So it's returning main my pack tutorial could not find load main class. I am uh, checking the configuration again and define pack the 21. Actually, 21 is not available in the list. Okay, tutorial 21 is not available in the list. Why it is not? So I'm running this. Let me check. Tutorial 21.java is there. What I'm doing here, I'm just copying this entire class, okay, and deleting this and creating again. Maybe it is not declared properly. Okay, so I'm creating my tutorial number 21 again. My pack. Click on finish, and already created a class. Okay, and there is a object public static string arguments. And class of person p1 equal to new person here, person p2 equal to new person, calling my p1 dot display data and p2 dot display data. In both the cases, it's going to show the same. Now I'm going to debug this file. So okay, now I'm starting this debugging by stepping two. Now look at that. So it is always starting from a main. If you look at this green strip, so it's indicate that this is object P1. Now when I am going inside this step over, and if I'm going inside step into, so it's going to call the constructor. So now control goes to the constructor. So look at this. So this is my constructor, and I want to see what is happened in memory. So you can see by looking at the output here. So I can move my uh, okay screen here. So I want to check my memory contents. Okay, and so once I goes to the next statement here, so it's going to show the output and the memory contents here. So if you see the information here, there is a class called as a person, and the constructor is a person here, and I want to show the memory content here. So let me check a watch. Okay, so there is a watch. So I can see the new watch here, and I'm looking for watch on this one. Okay, so if you look at this part, and I just want to delete the existing watch here, which I don't have. Okay, so these are my these pointer. So if you look at this pointer has a address now 105. Okay, and it start pointing out this is the address of my P1 object here. Okay, and if I'm assigning, if I'm going inside my okay, uh, so now the first statement is executed. Now this pointer who is holding 105 address which assigning Sukhiram value to what the P1 here. So P1 is holding the address of 3000 here. So I'm moving to the next, and age equal to 34. And once I move here, so my P1 is get initialized here. So if you look at the P1 object here, so this class uh, has a P1 object and P2 object. So if I'm keeping a watch on P1 here, okay, and entering a P1, okay, adding a watch on P1 here, and if I'm adding, I want to see the P1 content. So if you see the P1 object, and once you move to the next statement, at that time the P1 is get initialized here. So if you look at that P1, so P1 has the address 105. I don't need to put a part. So P1 has address 105, and these are the two data member. P1 has name and age and the Sukira, and 34 values are there. So the way I'm showing here like this. So this is my P1 which holding some addresses and which has two data member. Okay, so here name and age, and that value is available here. Okay, so if you see the next object, that is P2 is going to initialize. So I'm going inside P2. Again, the constructor is getting called. And once the constructor is getting called, now look at that. The address of my P2 is 160 now. Okay. Previously it was 132 and now it is 160. So it is a different address, and this pointer is holding that address, and this pointer is giving a value to what that uh, information. So if you click on go inside further, then you see that there is a class called as an object. Okay, so this object class is a super class of what all the classes here. So I'm just coming out from that object class and moving to this pattern and going inside this. So name and age Sukiram the same value, and returning back here. So my P1 now, P1 and P2 are the two objects, So if you look at the address of P1 is 105 and address of P2 is 160, not 132, it is 105, and each one uh, is holding the same value. Okay, and this pointer is actually getting this value, and therefore we are using this reference or this pointer here. Also, I can't use a keyword pointer. uh, I should use this reference here because this pointer is also available in C++. The working of what all this is a reference by default programming language has, and they are using this in every programming language. Okay, this reference is there, but name is different. For example, if you are using a VB.NET, then there is no this, but there is something called as a ME. Okay, so it is same like as this pointer with a different name here. So the concepts are same here. Okay, so if you see, this is a constructor and parameterized constructor. I'm now going to define here. Okay, so I'm stopping this debugging, and once the P1 P2 is having the that value, again my display data is getting called accordingly, and the display data is also holding the same part. So if you look at that, the display data is printing the respective value of what that content. So P1 and P2 contents. Okay, and display data also using this pointer and the respective P1 object and P2 object value they are getting called. Okay, so let us move to the another constructor, that is a parameterized constructor. So instead of using the normal constructor, I am passing a parameter. So the way I am using these, so I'm choosing a different name. These are the variable. Okay, so I'm choosing NAM and AG instead of age. So these are the parameters. Okay, which is responsible for initializing the data member of name and age. So what I'm doing here, also I'm choosing name equal to NAM and this dot age equal to age here. Okay, so suppose I don't want to initialize by a fixed value. I want to initialize my object by providing some. So if I'm writing a Dukhiram here, okay, and the age is 55 here, so what will happen in that? So first we'll initialize with the with this signature, whatever the signature is matching without no parameters. So this particular object is calling a non parameterized constructor, and second object is calling a parameterized constructor. So this is a constructor, but it is a parameterized. And if you are having two same kind of what the function with a different signature. So name of the function is same, but different signatures are there. Means the parameters, size, parameter, data type are different. Then those functions or methods are called as a overloading method. Okay, and if here we are not doing any kind of method, it is a constructor, therefore we are calling this as a constructor overloading because we are getting two different method of what the constructor. So according to the signature match, the respective constructor is getting called. So let us start debugging again. So I'm choosing step into here and my debug is getting start here. So my first constructor is going to call here. Okay, when I'm pressing, see, it's a non-parameterized constructor and it's going to use this P1, P2 part here, and it's going to initialize and return back to me. So in second statement, this is a parameterized constructor. So if you are going inside that constructor here, then directly goes to what the second constructor definition. It's skipping the first definition because calling is always taking place through a definition. Okay, if the exact matching is there, then the respective function is getting called in a constructor overloading. So here, this is string kind of data and this is integer kind of data. So I know my signature is matching here. So I'm providing string kind of data and integer kind of data. So that's why this particular constructor is getting called, and it's initialize those value here. So it's a p1 p2 are get initialized by using two different constructor, and you will see the output accordingly. So if I'm running this, so if you see the output here, you will get that the first p1 object initialized with a non-parameterized constructor. Second object is initialized with the parameterized constructor, and this is automatic initialization. Okay, so I'm not calling any kind of what the input data kind of method here. Okay, so it's depends upon my wish how I can initialize the data member. So I can initialize the data member by fixing a value here at the time of runtime initialization. I will not do. I will do a compile time initialization and assign fixed value here. Or I will pass the parameter and I use parameterized constructor, which is also responsible for initialization. What if I'm using something called as a person p3 equal to new person, okay, and I'm not going to uh, call a p3 display data directly. I'm choosing p3 dot input data. So I'm going to call p3 input data. So I'm initializing my p3 value by giving input. But if you see, this p3 is calling a non-parameterized construct. So initially it's going to initialize with this value, that is Sukhiram and 34, and after reinitialization is taking place, and reinitialization is taking place because you are calling a data member input data. So if you want to see again, so I'm showing a debugging part again here, and starting. So if you look at p1 p2, so I'm skipping the p1 p2 part here. So p1 is initialized, p2 is, look at the p3 here initialization. So I'm going inside there. So p3 is getting called because the constructor is a non parameterized constructor. So in p3 case, so p3 is actually executed, okay, by the uh, the value which is there. So initialization is taking place, Sukhiram, and age is 24. So if you look at that, and it's returning back to the p3 after initialization. Now my p3 is get initialized here. If you look at the p3 here, and the p3 object after moving this to the next statement here. So p3 object is also initialized and have name and age are Sukinam and 23, same like as a P1. But again I'm calling input data here, and when I'm going inside the input data, so reinitialization is taking place, and I'm going inside my scanner object, okay, and in that scanner object I'm entering the value for the same. So enter your name. So I'm entering a value here, suppose in output, so they are giving me enter your name. So I'm writing pqr as a name, and so pqr is available. Pqr is actually entered and stored inside the name, and then next value is age. So I'm writing age is 27. Yeah. So if you look at that, p3 is again initialized. So if you return back to the P3 again, so P3 is initialized with a new value, that is PQR and 27. So previous value of Sukhiram and 23 is re-initialized here. And if you print all those stuff here, so P1, P2 and P3 are three different values. And if you see the output here, so it's showing Sukhiram, Dukhiram and PQR. Okay, all these are three different kind of object, P1, P2, and P3. So this is the way where you can initialize the uh, variable data member through method, through constructor, through input method, where it's your own method and initialization is taking place. There is no direct initialization. You can't directly assign some value here like this. So when I'm assigning some value here, X, Y, Z, and I'm assigning uh, so it will lose the what the security here. So even though they are giving you such kind of what initialization, so if I'm using this and try to run this program here, okay, so it's actually showing uh, some, okay, if you look at that, still it is calling a Sukiram, Dukiram, and PQR. XYZ is not there. Reinitialization is not. So initialization always taking place, object initialization always taking place through a constructor or parameterized constructor or some input data. Okay, and display data will display the output whatever the way you want. Another way of initializing the data is defining a property of this data member. Okay, so every class have constructor, every class have parameterized constructor, every class has constructor overloading, input data, display data, and similarly every class has a property. So I'm defining a property. Okay, so properties are defined by the setter and getter method. So you can directly press insert code and you can choose a setter and getter method. So I'm choosing, I want to write a property for age and name here. So when I generate it, so automatically some functions are automatically actually created here. So if you see, get name is actually same like as a print. Okay, so if you want to print the contents of your name variable, so it's going to return the name. So there is a get and there is a set. Okay, so therefore it is called as a getter and setter. So whenever you want to set some value instead of initialization, or you don't want to use input method, or don't want to use a constructor, but still you want to initialize your name as well as age. Okay, and you want to print your name and age, and you want such kind of what the functionality is. So all these are methods, but those methods are called as a getter and setter method, also known as a properties. So whatever the data member are there, accordingly those methods are get created. If your data members are name age, then the method automatically created called as a set name, get name, and get age, set age. So if you have 7 to 8 data member of class, then you can create the property for each and every data member of what that class. So I have only two data member, name and age, therefore I have got the 4 methods here. So let us see initialization using a property. Okay, so here I'm using I'm just putting here initialization, runtime initialization using the constructor here. So this is runtime initialization using constructor. Okay, and this is a runtime initialization by using method. So I'm calling a method called as an input data, and this is output, showing output of what the variable, the showing the content of variable. So now I want to initialize the my third or fourth object, person object, by using the setter and getter method. So I'm creating an object called as a person. Okay. So in future, when you are going to learn famous the framework and popular framework of Java, known as a Spring. Okay, and in that Spring, you are going to learn something called as AOP, and in future, whenever you are going to use MVC pattern, okay, and that is model view controller, is a popular design pattern of a programming language. At that time, these properties are used, and you are supposed to create a properties of each class here, each class member here. So I'm choosing a properties now. Here I'm showing initialization. Okay, display content through a property. So I'm going to show that my P4, I want to set a name of P4. So I'm choosing set name of P4 by assigning some value. Okay, so I'm writing a Suresh here. Okay. And then I'm going to choose P4 dot set age here. Okay, and I'm writing age is 55. So okay, and now I want to print the system dot out print ln. Okay, and just I want to print a name of fee for object or simply write name. Okay, and using here p4 dot something called as a get name here. Okay, so it is for printing and okay, getting the information from object, and this is setting the information to object. Okay, setting the variable. Okay, setting the object variable or initializing the object variable through property. Okay, so I'm using a system dot print here, and then age equal. Then again p4 dot get age. Okay, so get age is going to return the age which is assigned. So get name, I already set Suresh as a name in p4. So get name will return that content of what the p4. And set age, I set age as a 55, and get age will return that value. So let us see how property help us to print and initialize the value. So again, choice is your whether you want to initialize through constructor, you want to take input through some input method. So now this is my I'm giving name as a Ramesh here, and age is 75. So look at that. There are n number of objects. So if you see, there is Sukhiram, Dukhiram, and Ramesh, and the Suresh. The Suresh is the last one, which is initialized with the help of what the property, and it's printing with the help of property. So here I'm using colon and dash. So if you see, all are simply dash dash dash, and here this is colon and dash. Okay, colon and dash. So in this way you can see the output. Okay, name, age. So your class is any kind of what the class you are defined, those classes you can easily use anywhere, and that class you can define outside the object. Okay, even that class also. So what I'm going to do, I'm just copying this content of that class. Okay, and up to here set it. Okay, and copying this and deleting this entire class. Okay, and I'm going to define my class person outside this class. So the class is not available here. So I'm going to create my external class person, and I'm giving a name of that class person, and clicking on finish, and I'm just putting the class definition here. Okay, so if you see, so this is my class definition, And now whatever the class I'm defining here, okay, that class I'm going to use in my tutorial number 21. I can directly use because both are actually available inside my pack. My pack is a package. The package is a collection of 4 different classes. So person is one of the class. Okay, and I'm creating the what uh, the object here directly, and I'm defining a person class outside this class, and I create a number of object here. Okay, so this is the way you can define. So let us understand another part of that is called as a, something we are talking about the hidden method, the method which is given to accessible, or some method which is not accessible. So all these methods are public method. Okay, and if I'm using some method which is only access privately here, so it is not available. So I'm simply writing private method and private, and here I'm writing calculate. Okay, and some calculation which I don't want to show to and some okay, statement goes here. Uh, and that statement I will any business logic I can put here, but it is a private. So whenever you access any kind of what the list of variable here, so when you are choosing object p1, so you are choosing object p1, so p1 is giving a list of what all the properties and the method. So if you see, there is a display data, input data, get age, whatever is in bold format, that are the methods belongs to the person class, but it won't show calculate method because it is not available here, because it is not public. Okay, and in that case we are actually doing that for some process, and the calculations are taking place here. So if I'm calling this through this simply data, so it is actually not directly available, but indirectly you can call. So so if I'm saying inside the system and dot out dot print, so I'm getting call called from calculate method. Okay, so it's just message. Now I this calculate method is getting called by display data here. So I'm choosing a calculate. So if I try to use a calculate here. Okay, so what will happen? So calculate is not returning any data type, but it is a member. So other member can call him. Okay, but the uh, it will not available as a separate call because it is a private here. Okay, so let us see when I'm running this program again, tutorial number 21, and I'm just uh, for time being, I'm just uh, closing all these objects. Okay, and I'm only using p4 object here, not p4, p4 dot display data here. Okay. And uh, what happened in that case? So it's going to show on the output. So if you look at the output here, so name is Suresh and age is 55, whatever the name I'm giving. For P4, that name is given, and display data is printing name and age, as well as they are calling the calculate method inside it. So I'm getting call from calculate method, even though it is private here, but my public method is calling that, that's why it is, but I can't directly access a calculate method. So if I'm choosing a dot calculate kind of part, so it is not accessible here. Okay, so that is called as an encapsulation and data hiding. So whatever is or that is called as a data abstraction, means whatever is essential that is given to you, and non-essential functions are not available. So it depends upon my wish which is essential and which is not essential, and which will get available to other object and which are not, that I will decide, and then we will type the information accordingly. Okay. So if you see this particular example, so every class you can defined by using this, and I'm talking about when the constructor is get created, at that time the destructor is also getting called. So in next class I'm going to explain the inheritance and how finalize function is getting called, but that I'm going to explain at exception handling here. Okay. And I will explain the use of what the destructor there. So 626 is there, so we are stopping because there are other sessions taking place at 6:30. So we'll meet tomorrow, and I will continue this with the inheritance part. So this is one example I explained how to define a class and what are the factors are available inside that.